TechTales 69. Today's June 28th, 7:29 a.m. This time slip is from Wednesday, June 16th, 10 minutes for the law office whiskey. 1:41 to 1:51 p.m. for Juliet. He's the senior, he's the attorney, single attorney in business here. Phone and remote support due to speakers not working. Verified speaker selection is correct and powered on. Deferred for on-site diagnosis. So this is a second time, I think, for speakers for him. I asked him if he had a headset plugged into the computer, and he said he didn't know. And he says he doesn't see one. Well, he has in the past been a Dragon Naturally Speaking user, and I know that he has a headset with a microphone, and he doesn't remember that. So I was pretty sure that the headset was probably connected to the computer, and it was above the sitting on top of the computer under the desk, where you have to look under to see it, or maybe fell off to the floor. And he asked me to. He didn't have it. He was a bit impatient, put it that way, and he just asked me just to come by and check it out. But he said there's no hurry, that he has a Zoom session in July he needs it functional for. So I figured I was going to have another worker in his office go check and work with me on the phone. And that is what wound up happening, and I'll explain that on another time slip. But yes, there was a headset that fell on the floor in the back. He also told me when I played sound through it with the volume cranked up, he told me he couldn't hear it. Well, I'm suspecting his hearing isn't quite so good. So, yeah, I didn't want to drive out there just to unplug his headset. So the alternative way will time slip will come up in the following week. So then the next time slip for the same person, the same day, 6 minutes, 3:20 p.m. to 3:26 p.m. Phone and remote support regarding unable to find sent email. Emails sent using Office Computer are stored in Sent folder of the large capacity section of Outlook to conserve on space on online mail server. Emails sent from a mobile device or home computer are stored in the standard Sent folder, which does diminish online storage. So I've had a few time slips that you've heard about where we run into email storage space problems. We had another one that happened this last Friday. We'll get to a time slip for that, and I'm fed up with it. I want to move them from their current mail provider, Network Solutions, to Microsoft 365. And this morning I took a little look at doing that. There's a complication even doing that, because in the past there was a Office 365 account created with his email account, and it is at the moment inaccessible. And I know that it was created as a personal account, and Microsoft has this thing where they separated personal accounts from business accounts some time back, and it makes things a little complex. Ay, caramba. All right, so let's move on to the following week. I need to save that first because apparently it thinks I made a change. So then coming to June 21st, 12 minutes for the law office Papa, 11 a.m. to 11:12 a.m. for Mike Uniform in the office. Phone and remote support to fix Microsoft 365 license expired and limited features. Cause determined to be a residual credential of Juliet Romeo still active on the computer. After signing out of Microsoft 365 as Mike Uniform, the residual credential was discovered and signed out, subsequently signed in again as Mike Uniform and activated the license. So when I launched Microsoft Word, up in the upper right area where it shows who it's logged in as, it showed the correct name. It showed the user's name of who's reporting that they're getting a message that says license expired. And indeed, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word is functioning a limited capacity. I went to the licensing screen on the admin portal for Microsoft 365 and found that this user has the full premium license. So it looked right. So what I did is I logged out, clicking up on the user's name in Microsoft Word. I logged out of that user's name. And then the username switched to be a prior user for a person that no longer works in the office. Well, their Microsoft 365 account that license had been terminated. I turned it off. And somehow, even though Microsoft 365 on this computer was currently logged in as a user who has a valid license, somehow it was utilizing the underlying prior license. Now, the other thing that's odd about this is that when a new user comes to a computer, I actually create a new Windows profile, a new login credentials. So we log in as a different user into Windows and then sign in to Microsoft 365. Now, they don't log into Windows with their Microsoft account. They log in with a local user account, and then we sign in to one of the Office products, Microsoft 365 product. Word usually is the one that I use to sign in. And so I signed in with that user with, the currently assigned license, and still somehow Microsoft 365 was referencing the prior license. So I think that was the first time I came across that particular tweak of symptom. Then Monday, June 21st, 45 minutes for the financial services company Papa, 11:45 a.m. to 1:10 p.m. Now that says 45 minutes, but that time span is more than 45 minutes. So this is one where I put in a break time. If the time period I wasn't completely focused on working on that issue, then I put in a break to essentially estimate how much time I actually spent on the issue. Reviewed link from his daughter via Papa. His name begins with the letter P. The mnemonic for that is Papa. Yes, he is the father of his daughter. Why do I bother? Regarding a large external drive for the iMac. So she uses an iMac and wants to get a large external drive for storing her video production files. I sent an email with recommendations. So she had sent a link to her dad, who's my client, and I reviewed that. This link didn't have any prices for any of the external drives that were being suggested. It was a website, blog, basically, that was reviewing different types of external devices. So I looked over those, and then I went and pulled up an Amazon listing of actual hardware to buy. And the email that I sent back essentially discussed the advantages and disadvantages of using external SSD, since it was an iMac, there's the Lightning connection or a USB connection or the other one. There's a few different connection styles, a few different cable styles. I don't know what ports the computer has. The spinning drive versus SSD, if she's doing a lot of right now type activity with that external SSD where she's actually working from it, then that could be useful to have that extra speed. But depending upon which interface she's using, this extra speed of the SSD might not be that significant. The long-term storage capability of a spinning hard drive is better than an SSD drive. When you fill up an SSD drive and don't have a lot of free space, they don't work as well. They're not as fast. So there's a lot of factors to consider, and I don't have enough information about how she's going to use that. If she does her primary work from the internal storage drive of her iMac, which I think is probably the case, and she only wants to move things off to this external drive when she's done with them, so it's not a frequent activity, then I clearly would want her to have a larger capacity spinning drive, not an SSD. And which interface cable is used is not that significant. So I basically sent a fairly long email trying to educate on these questions or issues. So that'll do it for this session. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.